Hello everybody, Sergeant Soldier here, and we're back with another My Altis Life, and today we're not going to be talking about making money, we're going to be talking about your rights as a civilian on the Asylum server and how to deal with the police. Now, before we can talk about your actual rights, there's three things we need to discuss that are going to pertain to these rights later on, and that is illegal actions, bannable actions, and what is RP and when to use it. So for the first two, illegal actions are essentially anything in the real world that would be considered illegal is essentially illegal in the server as well. Processing drugs, running drugs, selling drugs, running somebody over, speeding, it's all illegal. You could either A, get a ticket, or B, go to jail. Most of the time you'll end up getting both if it's severe enough. Now for bannable actions, these are a little bit more serious. Now the big two that are always discussed about are the RDMs and the VDMs, which we actually did a video on a couple weeks ago. If you want to check that out, it explains it really well. But there's also other bannable actions that I'm starting to see a lot more often. And that includes scripting, duping, hacking, exploiting, ghosting, metagame, combat logging, which we have a video for that as well, general trolling, and stream sniping. Now, one thing to remember, server admins reserve the right to hand out bans for things that are not necessarily written down in the rules, but are believed to be toxic or threatening to the community. So anytime you're going off in side chat and you get really bad, the server admin might decide to, hey, you know what, you're gonna get a 1-day ban, knock that stuff off. Perfectly acceptable, you just need to be cool. Next, we're going to talk about what RP is, or roleplay, and when to use it. Now, this is a roleplay server. It's the Asylum Altis Life roleplay server. You need to use RP anytime you're engaging with any other player. So you might be asking yourself, well, what exactly is RP? It's simple. Roleplaying is any action that you make or words that you say that give meaning to your actions in-game and convey the intent to others. So that being said, for example, let's say you and I are in town, I pull a gun out and I say, hey, put your hands up, take off your clothes, and you do that and I won't shoot you. This is an RP situation where I'm implying my intent that if you don't do what I say, I'm gonna kill you. Now, it's highly recommended that you RP with other people because if you don't do it in certain situations, such as when you're gonna kill somebody, that's the difference between a legal action, an illegal action, and a bannable action. So let's say I walk up to you and I say, hey, how you doing? I like your shoes. Where'd you buy them from? That's RPing. That's a legal action. It's okay. If I walk up to you and I say, hey, take off your clothes or I'll shoot you, and I shoot you immediately after that, that's an illegal action, and it's also bannable. So there's certain things you need to keep in mind of when it comes to RPing. You need to do it correctly. Otherwise, if the other person records you not doing proper RP and calls it RDMing and supplies that video to the admins or even the server website, it could mean you getting banned. Now, just because that it's an RP server doesn't mean that every small interaction you do with another person has to be RP'd. However, if you're going to kill or rob another player, you have to RP. It is required. So that said, if, let's say we go back to the previous example, I say I'm going to shoot you if you don't take off your clothes, I have to actually give you a certain amount of time in order to respond to that. It's in the rules. I have to give you 5 seconds. If I say, take off your clothes or I'll shoot you, and I immediately shoot you, that's RDM, it's bannable. Or if I say, take off your clothes and I'll shoot you, and you take your clothes off and I shoot you anyway, that's RDM, and it's bannable. Because I complied with your RP action, and you still shot me anyway. So some other examples of what RP is. Now this kind of confuses some people because they know and they don't know. Some people that are new have no idea. Some people that are older, have been on the server for a while, aren't exactly explaining it to anybody, so I figured this could probably help most of us out. RP is sending a text message or making a phone call via the in-game phone with the Y button, counts as RP. It's initiating contact. When a cop turns their siren on, that's initiating RP contact. Creating any sort of story to explain why you committed a crime. For example, let's say I'm doing a heroin run and a cop pulls me over and I have heroin on me. And they say, well, why are you doing this? You're putting drugs in our street. It's not good for the kids. I come up with an elaborate story that, let's use, for example, I just got out of jail. I'm having a hard time. I'm addicted to heroin, but I want to go to rehab, but I can't afford rehab, and I don't have any money. So I figured I'd do one more drug run, get some money, and go to rehab. If you make the story good enough and a really high quality story, there's a good chance the cop will either A, let you go, pardon you, reduce your ticket, or any other kind of RP action that he deems fit. If you're cool with the cops, they'll be cool with you. Now, certain things are not RP, and this is where a lot of people get kind of confused. Anything that's typed into side chat, direct chat, group chat, or vehicle chat is not considered RP. The person that you're talking to has no idea that you're talking to them. That being said, that's why the direct vocal chat by pressing your caps lock button, that's always the preferred method, because then you could say, hey, Sergeant Solge, take off your clothes or I'll shoot you. They know you're talking to them. You're right next to you. They're not, a certain distance away. You're not 10 kilometers away from them, and they could actually RP back with you. Another action that is not RP is being a mass murderer. You have to RP with the people that you're trying to kill. So if you just run around shooting people, that's not RP, that's just RDM. It's random deathmatching. Can't do it, it's bannable. Bad. Next, acknowledging your previous lives after you respawn. This one's a little tricky and it happens all the time. When you die, let's say me and you are fighting in town, I shoot you and you die and respawn. Our RP that started our fight is now terminated. You are a new person essentially, and your previous RP does not apply to your new person. However, if let's say we're fighting in town and you die and you don't respawn, but a medic revives you within a few minutes, you can get back up and our RP is still initiated because you didn't respawn. You're still that same person. So this is where it kind of gets confusing. People end up respawning in the same town, grab some guns, and immediately start shooting the guy. That's not RP, it's RDM. It doesn't matter if you fought 10 minutes ago. It's against the rules. Now, as I said before, you have 5 seconds to respond to the RP. That being said, if I shoot you within that 5 seconds after telling you to do something, I just committed RDM, and if you recorded me doing that on a video and you submit it to the admins or the website, it can get me, and more than likely will get me banned. So now that we have a basic idea of what RP is and what it's not, and why it's so important, we're actually going to talk about your rights as a civilian on the server. Now, the basic rights that you have are to A, not be unreasonably restrained or shot at by cops without probable cause. And we'll talk about probable cause later. Basically, this says that unless there's a specific reason to why you're getting arrested, they can't do it. They can't just arrest anyone they want. They have to have a reason to do it. Next, you have the basic right to not be subjected to unlawful searches and seizures. Let's say you're driving down the road and you get caught speeding. No big deal. It's a couple $1 fine. It's all good, but a cop pulls you over anyway. That cop cannot search you or your vehicle unless you give them permission. There is no reason for them to do that unless you are caught in an illegal area, such as near the heroin field. But if you're not, if you're just driving on the road through town and you're speeding, they cannot search you. And if they do, and you have it on video, and they mention, hey, you got this in your possession, and you say, well, what was your probable cause? And they don't say anything about it, you could submit that video to the server admins or the website, and that cop will be reprimanded. Your next basic right is knowing your charges before receiving a ticket. Now, anytime I've ever been arrested, I was always told my charge before receiving the ticket. And 9 times out of 10, if you're cool with the cop's cool with you, you're having a good time, you make the cop laugh, either A, you'll get pardoned completely, which happens a lot with me, or B, if you can come up with a good enough RP reason for why you did that, a lot of the times the cop will drop your fee down to half or sometimes even less than half. So if you have a $10,000 fee, sometimes they'll drop it down to $1,000 if you have a good enough reason. Your next right is to a timely trial, a quick ticketing, and a fast jail procedure. Now, there is a 10-minute restraint rule that says the cops have to have you for roughly no more than 10 minutes in order to give you a timely trial, a fast ticketing, and a fast jail procedure. And if they go above 10 minutes, you can file a complaint with any of their higher-ups, and there's a form to do it on the website if you have to do it, or if no one's listening to you, you can take it up to the admins. It's basically saying that they can't hold you for an hour for some stupid reason just because they feel like being jerks. Your next basic right is you have the right to be pardoned if the restraining officer directly causes your death. Now, this doesn't happen very often, but it has happened once or twice in chat, and they did get pardoned and they got their stuff back. The officer restrained someone for their own safety, which is perfectly fine. However, they restrained them in the middle of a road, and the car came driving by and ran that guy over. It's the cop's fault. The cop, if you felt like restraining him, should have restrained him. Sure, fine. But the cop should have moved him off of the road. And because he didn't, the guy was pardoned, and the cop actually had to reimburse his stuff. Another excuse for getting pardoned because the cop had you killed was if you're in the cop car and he crashes and kills you both, you get pardoned. It was his fault he crashed. Now, that being said, if one of your friends causes your death, such as by trying to fight the cop or run the cop off the road to get you out of the vehicle, that's not the cop's fault. It's someone else, a third party, trying to escape or try to get you out of the vehicle or try to do anything like that. It's a third party's fault, not the cop's fault. You will not be pardoned, and your stuff will not be returned to you. Now, you do not have the right to not be RDM or VDM. The cops can't do anything about it. They can arrest someone, they can fine them, they can send them to jail, but if someone's doing an RDM or VDM action, that's a bannable offense for server admins. You do not have the right to be safe from those actions because they can literally happen at any point. If you want to fight it, you need to have a video recording showing what happened, showing the lack of RP or anything like that you could submit to the admins to get that person banned. It's up to you as the civilian to do this. Now, that being said, if the admins don't do anything about it, that's on them. But you do not have the right to be protected against VDM and RDM. That being said, you also do not have the right to be protected against anyone who is scripting, duping, hacking, etc., etc., etc. These are matters for the admins, and the admins have to be able to do these things. And by you causing a fight with the cops or a fight with the admins, it's going to make their job more difficult. The rights protect you from the cops, the law, and other civilians. However, when it comes to bannable actions, you just got to suck it up. Next, we're going to talk about probable cause. Just like in real life, cops have a probable cause when it comes to you doing stuff. For example, if you are in an illegal area, such as any of the drug areas, heroin processing, meth lab, etc., etc., those are illegal areas. You being there gives the cop probable cause. If you commit a crime, such as murder or running someone over with your vehicle, they have probable cause to do whatever they need to do. If you try to flee, either on foot or in a vehicle, they have probable cause to hunt you down. Don't run away, sit there and talk to them. If you are on the wanted list for over $500, they have probable cause to arrest you. So if you kill someone, you get a $5,000 bounty. The cops now have probable cause. You're essentially a fugitive. If you're in possession of any illegal weapons or vehicles, now a good example of an illegal weapon is if you're a bounty hunter and you lose your license but you still have a pistol in your house. Having that pistol on you while not having the bounty hunter license is an illegal weapon, and you can be arrested for that. Or you can at the very least be fined unless you have a very good excuse for it. That being said, also with vehicles, there are certain vehicles that only certain professions are allowed to have. If you don't have that profession, it's illegal to you. Now when it comes to probable cause, speeding in a vehicle while also evading arrest is sufficient for probable cause. However, speeding alone does not give cause, but the cops can still pull you over and question you. You need to be speeding and evading for it to be probable. That being said, if you're just regular speeding and you don't pull over for the cop, then that is evading arrest. So you need to make sure if you hear a siren, look behind you while you're driving to make sure a cop isn't trying to pull you over. Another reason for probable cause is driving more than 10 meters off the road. Now, that being said, it's not an ironclad rule. If you have a good RP reason for trying to do it, be sure to tell the cop that. For example, if you're trying to drive through the turf area of a very large gang that's very hostile, and instead of driving through it, you want to go around it and go on the off-roads. This has actually worked for me numerous times. The cop asked me why I was doing it. I said I had a box truck full of iron. I was taking it to my house. I didn't want to have the truck be shot up and me killed and my iron taken, so I went around the turf. The cop saw that as being justifiable and he let me go. No ticket, nothing. He just said, just be careful, try to stay on the roads as much as possible. Cops understand, just be cool. Last but not least, driving around a checkpoint. Now this is considered an illegal action. You have to go through the checkpoint. You can't go on the dirt around the outside of it. However, if you see a checkpoint and you just have to do a 180-degree turn and go back the direction you came, that is not considered probable cause for them to chase you down. You could just as easily say, oh, I went down the wrong road. I needed to go down the other road this way, and there you go. You're good. Now, this being said, cops cannot restrain you without probable cause. However, if you are a threat to the officer or another person, or if they think you may have been involved in a nearby crime or a nearby shooting, then they may ask you, hey, can I restrain you for my own safety? If the cop is asking you, just don't be a jerk. Say, yeah, that's fine, that's cool, no big deal. However, if they restrain you, that doesn't give them reason to search you or ticket you. They have to actually have a legitimate reason to do both. Now, the cops do have a right to down you if you present a threat to them, myself, yourself, or others. But it's only downing, it doesn't actually kill you, and they can pick you right back up. Now, there comes a point in time where you need to contact the cops to essentially save your bacon. These are called 911 calls. This type of call is when you text the cop and explain a situation to them, Every cop that's currently online will see your name and your location on the map at the time of making the call. This is considered a 911 call. It is highly recommended that you text the cops as soon as possible so that you can tell them that you need help with something. If you wait for several hours or days to talk to them about it, such as if it was self-defense manslaughter or you get run someone over that was your friend, it was an accident, they're not going to believe you. You waited too long. If you want to try to clear something up and you want to be cool with them so they can be cool with you, just send them a text, say, hey, this happened, I ran my friend over, he's here with me, we just want to say that it was an accident and I wanted to see if I can get pardoned. If a cop's nearby, he'll come to you, he'll talk to you about it, he'll talk to your friend, he'll be like, all right, no, you guys are cool, I'll drop your bounty, have a good day. And that's it, you're done. So, a couple good things that you could text the cops for. Committing a crime unintentionally, such as vehicular manslaughter, and need a pardon. The example I just used. Numerous times when I play with my friends, we're in a hurry, one of them doesn't unlock the door fast enough, and they end up running my legs over. It's not his fault, it was an accident. So we just talk to the cop and say, hey, he ran me over, I'm his friend, we're in the same group, we're in the same gang. Completely unintentional, can we get the pardon for his bounty? Most of the times, 9 times out of 10, the cop will be cool about it. He'll be like, yeah, just be careful, guys. Another thing to text or call the cops about is having committed a crime in self-defense and you need a pardon. So let's say that I'm in town and you pull a gun on me and you say, put your hands up or I'll shoot you, and I happen to have my gun out and I shoot you immediately. You engaged in RP with me, it was hostile. I answered hostilely. It's self-defense. You shouldn't have put your gun on me. So essentially, because it was self-defense, you get a pardon. Another thing to report to the cops is when you're reporting a crime such as theft or robbery. So if you're at such and such location and somebody robs you, you message the police and say, hey, this person robbed me for this amount of money and I'm right here. They will go to your location and then they'll try to find that person. Pretty easy. Or if you witness a robbery and say, hey, this person just robbed this person, it was in Kavala. It'll help the cops find this person that was robbing people, essentially. Last but not least, which is something that's very, very important, if you are stranded, like let's say your car despawns and you need a ride, you can text the cops, and if they're nice enough or if they're not busy, they actually will come and pick you up. The cops are really cool on most of the servers, but they're very busy and they're used to people being jerks. If you're cool with them, they'll be cool with you. Now, the next cool thing about interacting with cops is you have the chance of having a half ticket or a pardon. That being said, it all depends on you and it depends on your level of RP. If you can come up with a really good reason that can explain why you did something illegal, there's a chance that the cop will drop your ticket down. Or if it's a really, really good reason, such as it was unintentional, running over of someone's legs, it'll just be pardoned 100%. Now, that being said, if you are hostile towards a cop in any way, attempting to shoot them, down them, or anything like that, you will not be pardoned, you will not have a reduction, you will pay 100% of the fines, and anyone with you will pay 100% of their fines. Don't be jerks to the cops, they won't be jerks to you. Last thing I want to talk about, and it's pretty important, it is weed on the servers. Now, the server governor can make weed legal at any time. However, server governors kind of go in and out every day. So you need to be sure that the current server governor has made weed legal before you start processing it legally. Now, weed is the only drug that a governor can legalize, so you need to remember that. But it's not the actual marijuana itself that's legalized, it's the cannabis. So once weed is actually legalized, that makes the weed field a legal zone, meaning you cannot RDM there, and being there no longer gives the cops probable cause. However, only cannabis is legal to harvest and possess. If a cop searches you and you have cannabis on you, it is no longer an illegal item and it won't be seized. But if you go to a marijuana processor or a drug dealer, those are still illegal zones, you're doing an illegal action, you will be arrested. Marijuana, processing it at the marijuana processor, is still illegal to have. If you're arrested, the cops will seize it and you'll be fined. Once marijuana or pot or weed is legalized, you need to go to the marijuana dispensary, which is now a legal zone, and you can process the cannabis into legal medical marijuana, which is then sold to the hospital. However, smoking marijuana in public is still legal because it's public intoxication. However, if you do it in the privacy of your own home, you can't really say a whole lot. Last but not least, is something that I forgot that I was going to cover is tracking devices. This is something that we just experienced firsthand because Hi Everyone and I were doing meth with a couple of our friends, and somehow the cop decided to let him off. But the cop said, if you do any crimes within the next hour, you're going to go to jail. And he put some kind of device on him. Cops can also put a tracking device on your vehicle so that they can follow you and see where you're going. Now, It can be done discreetly, which means that you won't know about it, and they can do it without probable cause. So let's say that you're arrested at meth, and your processing meth, the cop lets you get away, he doesn't seize your vehicle. They can put a tracker on your vehicle without you knowing, and they'll be able to see, okay, where's he going now? Where's he going? Where's he going? Where's he going? And they can track your vehicle until either A, the server restarts, or B, you put your vehicle in the garage. So that's pretty much it for this video. There's a lot of different rules that could be covered in many, many different videos. If this helped any of you guys out, please let me know in the comment section below. It's a little bit of a daunting task trying to cover rules with gameplay to make it important but not kind of boring. Hopefully I achieved that today. So anyway, that'll be it. It's already long enough as it is. Sergeant Solj, my Altis life, and we'll see you in the next ArmA 3 video. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you want to see more great content from Private Astro or myself, please hit that subscribe button and click on any of the videos above. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next Sergeant Solj or Private Astro video. Bye-bye.